ASMR Gaming News. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to ASMR Gaming News. Please hit that like button, sit back, relax, and let's begin. So we got a lot of really exciting video game news this week, so let's see, let's just jump in with the biggest piece of news possibly. Nintendo has officially shut down the eShop for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U this week. So this is kind of a big deal. Basically, on the 27th, Nintendo basically disconnected the download servers for the 3DS and Wii U eShops. And now it's impossible to buy or, make purchases on those stores. So before the 27th, let's say you wanted to buy Pokemon Crystal on your 3DS, you could do that. If you wanted to buy The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on your Wii U, you could do that. But Nintendo has disabled purchases on the server, and you can't download demos or any other free items or games. The only thing you can do right now is if you have any download codes for a game, let's say like Terraria. If you have a download code for Terraria, Minecraft or something, you can still use a download code, but even that's going to be deactivated at some point in the near future. Now, for those of you that are kind of in the same place as me, that bought a bunch of 3DS and Wii U games, there's nothing to worry about. You can still re-download any games from your download history. So, let's say you bought a bunch of Nintendo games and they're on the Wii U eShop in your download history. You can go to your profile and download games that you don't have installed anymore. Now, apparently this feature is going to go away at some point, but as of right now, you can still download games that you bought a while ago. So that's really, really nice. But yeah, it's really, really sad to see the eShop, basically kind of close. Since you can't buy anything anymore, it's not really an eShop. So yeah, a lot of people really sad this week, and a bunch of people were very, very angry that the eShop was closing down. Just to make an example, the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita, digital PlayStation stores, those are still online. You can still go on your PlayStation 3, that's from 2006, and download and purchase games from their store. But Nintendo, I guess they decided the Wii U and 3DS are just too old, even though those came out in 2012 or whatever. So very bizarre, but I guess Nintendo made the decision, and yeah, they shut the eShop down. So a lot of Nintendo fans are kind of disappointed with that this week. So let's see, what else do we got? Speaking of disappointing, oh my goodness. So Multiversus, anyone remember Multiversus? So the developers for Multiversus came out and said, hey, the game's gonna go offline in June, so in a couple of months, and they're gonna try to work on the game and maybe launch it in early 2024. And I was like, what? So I purchased the deluxe edition of Multiversus. I think it was $50 or $60. And I did not know it was in beta, because on the Steam page it didn't say beta or early access. I thought it was like the full game, so I was like, oh sure, I'll buy it. Well, now it turns out that they're not going to refund anybody, and they're basically disconnecting the games from the server, so you can't really do anything with Multiversus since it's basically an online like multiplayer fighting game. And yeah, they just randomly announced this in the past week. They said they're going to be shutting down the servers, the game's going offline, and they're going to continue working and developing the game and launch it officially in 2024. Now, I'm gonna be really mad if the game comes out in 2024 and then I have to like buy it again or something. But a lot of people are not happy. They posted this on their like Twitter and on a bunch of other websites, and people were like roasting them in the comments, like, how are you gonna launch a game, close it, and then like release it in a year? Like, what is up with that? So yeah, I guess, you know, we just have to be more attentive when games come out, because they could always be in, like, early beta, and you might buy a beta, and then the full game is not even going to come out anytime soon, so, yeah, that's crazy. Thankfully, the game was free for a lot of people, but sadly, I picked up, like, the deluxe version, because I wanted to play all the characters, and I did not know they were going to do this. We got some sad news about E3 this week. Rest in peace to E3 2023. So it looks like E3 is basically going to be canceled for good. Like, we might never see another E3 again, which is very, very sad. For those that don't know, ever since the pandemic, E3 has been in a very bad state because you know, during, 2020, they didn't really want to have anything that year, and they didn't want to do anything the next year. And then the year after that, they tried to do something, but it was too late and not enough people. So this year, they were like, okay, we're finally going to have a bunch of people back. A lot of video game companies were going to do E3. And literally everybody said they weren't going randomly in the last month or so. Like, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, they all said they're not going to be at E3. Then you had companies like Activision Blizzard, EA, Ubisoft, Capcom, Konami, like all these like smaller but big video game companies. They all came out and said they were not going to do E3 this year. So this week, after literally all the big video game companies said they weren't going, E3 had to say, hey, we're going to be closing E3 this year. It's not happening anymore. It was supposed to take place in like June 11th, June 12th. But yeah, looks like E3 is permanently, possibly closed for good. And a lot of people have been posting their memories about going to E3, you know, in the last few years and how it was good. And yeah, a lot of people have been sharing their memories. Even the CEO of Epic Games, if you go on his Twitter, today he posted like his early memories of going to E3 like 20 years ago or 25 years ago, and he was basically saying how it was like really fun and exciting for him to show off the Unreal Engine and things like that. And everybody's like, you know, sharing their good E3 memories, because I think a lot of people know that E3 is probably not going to happen anymore. Now, what's very interesting is Jeff Keighley, yes, the guy that does the video game awards, he has a Summer Games Fest, which has kind of gotten more popular in the last year or two. And what the Summer Game Fest is, it's basically taking over E3, but focusing more on like digital streaming of the shows. So every show gets like a segment. So there's like the Ubisoft stream where they'll showcase some of their trailers and games, and it seems like more and more developers like this approach instead of having an E3 booth. And you know, maybe that's an old, outdated way of doing things, but yeah, it looks like things are changing, and I guess we won't have E3 anymore. So it's kind of sad. My dream was always to go to E3 one day, but I guess I'll never be able to go to E3 now, which is a little disappointing. But hey, Maybe I'll be able to go to Summer Games Fest at some point. Nintendo announced a special edition Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch console. So basically this is like a Zelda themed console, Switch console for the new Zelda game. And there's also like a Pro controller that's going to be themed around the new game as well. This stuff, I think you can pre-order it, but it got sold out immediately because Zelda fans everywhere tried to buy this. And additionally, they put out a gameplay trailer for the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom as well. And the gameplay, if you like Breath of the Wild, this basically looks like a Breath of the Wild 2.0, kind of like expanding on everything that Breath of the Wild had and possibly improving some of the features from that game. So Zelda fans, everybody was watching this trailer when it dropped. It's kind of a big piece of news this week, so lots of Zelda stuff out there. Definitely recommend checking out the trailer if you're a fan. Let's see, what else do we got? This is funny. The Among Us infamous horse mode is returning, I think, later today for April Fools. So if you still play Among Us and you want to check out this new horse mode, it should be going live, I think, sometime later today. But definitely tomorrow it will be online. It's basically an April Fool's mode where all the Among Us characters turn into horses with like 4 feet. It looks really funny. And that's like an April Fool's joke they're doing, so that's definitely something really, really funny. Let's see what else we got here. EA is restructuring their kind of like game development, and they're basically laying off around 6% of their workforce. And I think I saw a number, let me see if I can get it. I think I saw like 600 people or something were fired, or should I say laid off from their job at EA, which is really, really sad. Like, that's a lot of people here. Let me see how many people exactly. Ooh, 775 employees. That is a lot. That is almost like 800 employees got laid off from EA this last week. So imagine having a job at EA. You know, you're working on Apex Legends or any of the other EA games, and they just come out and say, hey, we're laying all of you off. You don't have a job anymore. Like, that's super sad, especially, you know, in times like we are right now. Like, yo, that terrible way to learn about stuff like that. So EA randomly did that this week, and a lot of people are not really happy with them. There's a bunch of posts about this on like Twitter and some other websites like Reddit, if you want to go check those. The Resident Evil 4 remake is doing extremely well. I think most of us knew it would sell very well. This is one of the most popular Resident Evil games. The Resident Evil 4 remake apparently, in like the first 2 days, sold more than 3 million copies. That is crazy. And apparently that's just the digital version. So like the digital, like download version of Resident Evil 4 remake sold over 3 million in 2 days. I wonder how much the physical copies sold. Like, is it 2 million? Is it 1.5 million? Or is it even more than 3 million? So who knows? I wonder what the numbers are now that it's been like a week or something. Like, I'm sure Resident Evil 4 is selling extremely well. So definitely props to Capcom for bringing back classic Resident Evil. And it would be really nice if they kind of bring back this style for the next big mainline Resident Evil game. If they make it like Resident Evil 4, I think a lot of fans would be happy with that. And speaking of making the fans happy, Konami came out this week with a rumor that apparently Metal Gear Solid 3 is going to be getting a remake next year. Now, this is very strange news. For those that don't know, Hideo Kojima left Konami under very bad circumstances, and he was the person that developed Metal Gear Solid 3 back in the early 2000s, and Metal Gear Solid 3 is considered to be by many one of the best Metal Gear Solid games. I played it, I beat it, great game. I would say Metal Gear Solid 2 is my favorite, but Metal Gear Solid 3 is fantastic as well. And this remake is kind of strange news, because I don't know if Konami's going to be developing this or if they're outsourcing it to another company. And it's kind of weird to make a remake of the third game before making a remake of the first or second game in a series. So that's a little bit strange as well. But all of this is just a rumor that was reported, so it's not confirmed. But yeah, looks like we possibly might be getting a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake next year. Probably after the Silent Hill 2 remake comes out, you know? And let's see, what else do we got here? Ooh, we have some Minecraft news. So Minecraft is getting a special Dungeons and Dragons DLC. It's kind of like, I would honestly say this is more than just a DLC. It's almost like an expansion to Minecraft, because what they're doing is they're not just like adding like a Dungeons and Dragons world to Minecraft, but they actually had like the main like developers for like Minecraft make like a whole entire area with like quests, characters, new mobs and monsters from Dungeons and Dragons in Minecraft, including like new dragon types, mind flayers, beholders, things like that, you know, from actual Dungeons and Dragons. So that is actually pretty awesome. I definitely want to check this out. Sadly, we do not have a release date. All they said was spring 2023. So sometime in spring, they will be releasing this Dungeons and Dragons expansion DLC for Minecraft. People are comparing it to the DLC that they did for Super Mario a very long time ago, where it was basically like a huge addition to Minecraft. Looks like this is something like that, like where they're not just like doing a little map and calling it Dungeons and Dragons, but they really tried to develop something special for this, so that's super cool. I might check that out on the channel. And pretty much that is all the big video game news for the week, I think. So yeah, thank you all for listening, for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.